What's good, YouTube? We're back for another episode of Darever. Shout out the GOAT. If you know, you know. Pero we got episode chapter 108 of Undead Unluck, and shout out Yoshifumi Tosca because in his Goyard Devil right now, just in a different type of bag riding Undead Unluck, and we had an amazing chapter this week as we finally got a little bit of insight into the backstory of our boy Unrepair, our boy Rip. And during this chapter, we finally got to see why Rip came to be the individual he is, how he actually gained that negator ability, and we got to see the backstory with Latla and her sister Layla. So it started off with a bit of a flashback as we get some insight into Rip's living situation. He's a rich boy. Shout out him. I'm not mad at him for being born in it. I'm just jealous. However, he's a rich guy. He's fully just slacking off on his responsibilities. His dad's got him signed up for all these sort of classes and all these lessons to, bolster his abilities as an individual, grow him up to be a fucking human being. But Rip just doesn't care. He's got other things to worry about. He's a little kid. But Layla and Latla are there, and you can already tell that they've got a good relationship with him. Layla and Latla hide him whenever the servant or whoever this lady is comes out to try to tell Rip, boy, you got class. And they hide, bro. So you can tell there's a good relationship there. But Layla's in a wheelchair and informs Rip that she had just seen her doctor and she's only got 10 years left to live. Obviously, Latla starts crying because, fuck, her sister just told her she's got 10 years left to live, and that shit hurts, and that nobody can repair her heart. But my boy Rip, what does he say? Ha! I'm the GOAT. He says that I'm going to work as hard as I can to ensure that I can save you. Because you can already tell Rip's got a crush on Layla. He's yelling at Latla, saying all this snarky shit to her, but as soon as he gets to Layla, it's like, baby girl type shit. Like, we all had our crush as a kid. And Rip starts to study very hard because he knows that there's an incurable disease which Layla has. And he has this obvious God-given intellect because as soon as he starts studying, he is crushing all of his academics. He's learning anything and everything he can about medicine, and we get a flash forward to 8 years later, and we figure out that Rip has actually become the youngest doctor to ever grace his country, as well as Latla has developed psychic abilities which are greater than anybody's ever had. 100% accuracy, they said, with fortune telling, tarot cards, all that sort of junk, because she believed that if she couldn't fix Layla through medical means, she was going to do so spiritually. So they each chose a different route to do it, but Rip, kind of going against destiny and going against the fate which Layla had already presumably been told, said, I'm going to fix you medically. I'm going to ensure that this disease that you have, this incurable thing you have, can be fixed someday. And this shit gets sad, y'all. This shit gets sad. They work together, Latla and Rip, to schedule a surgery day for Layla finally. They're going to do some open heart surgery to ensure that this girl gets repaired. He says that, I'm going to marry you after this. And even though Layla's kind of already accepted her fate, she even was going to tell Rip that you've done all you can, so has Latla. You guys should love each other. But he's like, shut up, bitch. You my bitch. He literally stops her mid-sentence, kisses her, on some G shit, because that's it's obviously the woman that he wanted to be with, the woman that he truly loved. However, God had different plans, because this nigga God in this universe, although he is the omniscient and he's the omnipotent, we don't really know if he's the omnibenevolent. We really do not know. So they go into surgery. And this is sadly the moment whenever Rip's ability finally awakens itself. And I need to make a video discussing this topic, but the way that negator abilities are actually dealt to individuals in this world is very interesting. It seems that every single time there's a individual who develops this negator ability, it's because they've rejected a talent or gift which God has actually afforded them. And not everybody in this world's going to be special. Nobody's really special in general, but people do have special talents. They do have special gifts that are God-given. They're innate within them, such as Rip. Rip had an intellect which was obviously amazing. He wasn't using it to start off. He was slacking off on his studies. He didn't give a damn about anything in life. He was just kind of going through the motions. But as soon as he finally found motivation to use his intellect, he tried to use it to the best of his ability. However, it didn't actually end up helping him out just due to God in the end of it. But also similar to him, like Top. Top had this God-given ability of being the fastest dude out here, like Brazil. Like, he's in the favelas just dusting kids. Obviously, that's the sort of God-given ability which could have helped him and his family out. He had a sick mother, and that could have helped them get out of the gutter. Like, he probably could have made it to the Olympics or whatever the thing is in this world. Maybe Uma Olympic had already been murdered. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just very interesting how every single individual in this world, they don't use the God-given ability that they have. So God, in a sort of repercussion, gives them the ultimate gift of these negator abilities. Since Rip went against the fate that Layla had already been afforded to try to repair this incurable disease, and I forgot to mention, like, even Latla had said at a moment, like, this doctor, he said that Layla's clipped, and Rip is over here like, nah, this dude's a quack, he just has given up. But no, he didn't give up. He realistically knew 100% of the time this disease is incurable and is going to lead to death. But Rip didn't care. He tried to go against God's fate, God's will for Layla, and instead of being able to repair her, he'll never be able to repair anything again because he's just incorrectly used God's gifts for him. And that was the moment that Unrepair was born. That moment when he was cutting into Layla, trying to save her life, trying to repair her heart. God said, nigga, you'll never repair shit again. Whenever he started cutting into her, blood wouldn't stop. And I was like, ugh. Hit me in the heart spot. That shit was sad, but that was a great backstory for Rip. And I'm going to make a video, a little analysis on the way that the negator abilities are actually brought upon to each individual in Undead Unluck, because this is one of my favorite parts of the story. Just learning a little bit more about the nuances of God and how he imposes his will upon the individuals who he creates in this world. But after this, we get back to Unrepair versus Unluck. And this was kind of a bomb. Rip dropped some bombs on us. Last week we were talking about how we were confused why Rip actually pulled up on Andy and was trying to fight him. But we know the answers. We do know the answers now. So Rip tells Andy, bro, I do not give a dang about Ragnarok. I don't care about Kami. What I care about is getting Layla back. And he said, I know the plan to get Layla back as well. And this is what really blew me. Rip looks at Andy and he's like, I know what the arc is, nigga. The arc is the round table. And he tells him, you know them points? I know about them too. Jules? Shout out my girl Jules. This proof that Jules is a real ass woman. This chapter did right now. Because Jules had no intentions besides saving Fuko, presumably the only individual who can actually harm God, whenever she gave up those points to save Fuko. The points that she used were the same points which are actually used to catalyze the arc or start up the arc. So without those points, you're not able to ride the arc to the next loop and initiate that next loop. So Jules was the highest point holder beforehand, before she had actually saved Fuko and helped out Andy with all that shit. But now, since she is no longer the number one holder of the points, Victor is. And you know who the vessel for Victor is? Undead Unluck. Andy, my nigga Andy, needs to, in Rip's eyes, go down because I need them points. I need to use them to initiate the arc so I can save Layla. And this is some selfish ass Captain Save-A-Ho ass behavior, but I ain't mad at him. If I was really in love, hey, we all got that special girl. Shout out my special girl. If I was really like in love like that, I might risk it all, but he's really risking it all. Like, it really blew me because Jules obviously thought that this was the last loop. This was where we're going to defeat Kami finally at Ragnarok or beforehand, and she had been working her hardest to do so. Rip obviously doesn't give a damn about anything though. Not not the Union, and not shit. All he wanted to do was just save Layla. And it's cool to see all these contradicting motivations come into play during the end game, because this is the one time niggas really need to be fighting together. Everybody has sort of, I guess to say, the same goal. They all want the same thing except Rip. But nobody wants to fight together right now. Not the Union. Niggas just are off the same page, and we really need to be on the same script versus Kami. This shit's very, very interesting. Mr. Rip Tristan and Mrs. Latla Mira. That was a cool backstory, and I don't really have too many predictions for next week's chapter, but I do believe we'll get maybe the end of this fight, or maybe actually hopefully we'll get to see Unruin and Seal pulling up on the Union HQ, because I don't even know who's there to defend it. I know Shin and Mui are currently, if not weakened, they're completely out of commission due to that bout they had with Nico. And we don't know where that nigga Nico even went. We don't know what he's up to. We don't know what Uma Ghost is up to. Like, nigga, we don't got Fuko back. The dire times continue in Undead Unluck, but Yoshifumi's in a different type of bag. I'm thinking we kind of have to go to another loop at this point, just due to the travesties which have occurred in the past couple chapters. But I don't know. I'm putting my hands together. I'm praying to I'm gonna pray to Shulk, because that's the only god I know who's omnibenevolent. But shit, I appreciate y'all niggas for stopping by. I just wanted to, get my thoughts out on chapter 108 of Undead Unluck. I'm gonna be pushing out that video about the negator abilities. Y'all need to hear my thoughts on this, because it's probably one of the most interesting premises within Undead Unluck. Signing out. Arigatou gozaimasu. Fuck y'all niggas.